Sara Hall. I'm a professional marathon runner. I've been running professionally for 20 years now and have won national championships from the mile up to the marathon. The word longevity to me means, I think, just continuing to love what you do for a really long time. And for me, that's taken a big process of going through failure, like learning to not be afraid of failing and really deal with a lot of things on the mental level as well as the physical level, like learning how to take care of your body, how to continue to avoid injuries, how to deal with injuries when you have them. It's kind of a combination of a lot of the physical, the mental, and emotional aspects of sport, and being able to weather all of those well and still continue to love what you do and love the process and continue to evolve what you're doing.
Do you actually know how many lifetime miles you've run?
No.
Oh, what would you guess?
I have no idea. Maybe averaging 80 a week for 30 years.
Yeah, make something up.
80 a week for 30 years.
I'll do that.
So 80 times 52 times 30.
What's going on, guys? My name is Ryan Hall. I'm a two-time Olympian, former American record holder in the half marathon and 204 marathoner. I've been pacing and coaching my wife Sara Hall since about 2012. So we've been going strong for a while now and loving every day of it. Yeah, it's been super remarkable for me to see Sara just continue to do so well. Being the same age as her, I feel all the same aches and pains that she feels, and I'm like, man, I can't imagine still running as fast as she's running and pounding on the roads like she is at her age. It's just super impressive, and I think really it's a testimony to her listening to her body. She's just really in tune with what her body needs, and she's willing to adjust the program as it goes. And as a coach, I'm also willing to make the adjustments. Our training is anything but rigid.
Yeah, as my marathon career went on, recovery just became a lifestyle. Just trying to get my body moving well before I was running. When you're young, you can kind of just roll out the door without doing very much. But, I started the marathon in my mid-30s and ran my best in my late 30s. And so that was already at a time where I needed to take care of my body well. And I think that's what's exciting about the longer distances is your engine can just keep improving with age, right? And it's really your chassis that kind of can break down at times. But if you can keep that together, I have so many lifetime miles now, and I'm just building upon that each year. And so I think you can keep building that aerobic capacity for years to come. But yeah, it was a lot of muscle scraping in the mornings before I ran, working with my therapist, John Ball, and he prescribed a lot of strength training, which became a really important part of my program. And just getting out of a long injury cycle later in my career, that became really key, was working on my mechanics. And I really avoided the weight room for a long time. I kind of got burned on it in my track career. My body wasn't handling it very well when we were squatting a lot, and the next day I would go out and I would hardly be able to run 10-minute pace because I'd be so beat up. But I found that with the right kind of body work, I was able to handle that strength training. Actually, that's what I needed a lot, especially later on. And so yeah, it's been exciting to feel having worked on my mechanics a lot recently, I get out of bed in the morning feeling better than in my 20s now, and running feels better now than it ever has. And that's what's pretty exciting, is how adaptable the body is. You can actually make those, even though I ran a certain way for 7 years, you think those habits are ingrained, but you actually can retrain those and yeah, become more efficient, become more powerful, and that's been really a fun process. The first half of my career was on the track, and the second half of my career has been on the roads, and I feel that really helped me and my longevity in the sport, just to get a change of pace. I was starting to get pretty burned out on running in circles, and just had a lot of disappointment on the track. Definitely had some success and made a number of world teams and things, but then also had a lot of disappointment too, and track's just a lot more pressure. Starting road racing 10 years into my career, though, just really rejuvenated me. I loved just getting to run run different courses in different cities. And instead of, the track is always the same versus like having to learn a hilly course. And it was a lot more like cross country, which was kind of my first love in the sport. I didn't really expect to be very good at the marathon. I always thought I was more of like a middle distance runner with like a short attention span that really liked to sprint. But yeah, my first marathon buildup, I just loved the training, and I knew what it would take to run a marathon just from seeing Ryan and Dina and Meb, the best marathoners in country's history in Mammoth Lakes. Like I trained with them day in, day out, and so I knew like what it took to be good in the marathon, and I was really enjoying those kind of workouts, like those really long tempo runs and the really hard long runs. Just doing all that stuff, it surprised me like how easily it came. But my first marathon was like a complete disaster. Like my legs just were shot about 10 miles to go, and I don't even remember what I finished. It was somewhere in the 240s, but yeah, even with that, like I knew from the training that I could be good at it one day, just because I knew what it took to be good at the marathon in training, and I'd been able to do those, and more importantly, I'd really just enjoyed that kind of training. So that made me I almost wasn't fazed by it. Like I kind of was able to discard it and move forward, and yeah, just kept falling in love with improvement in the marathon for a number of years. All my marathons, for a while, I was improving by about a minute a marathon. Like after my first marathon, which was a disaster, I ran 2:31, then 2:30, 2:28, 2:27, 2:26. So it was like very linear. And each one of those minute improvements, I feel like was partly just getting a little bit better at doing the same training, but was also Ryan and I just enjoying experimenting. Like both of us are like really curious people. Like we just like to try new things, and Ryan experimented a lot on himself when he was competing. But yeah, I think we were always just trying to evolve, like how can we do things like a little differently, a little better, like what if we tried this? And I think when I made my big jump from 226 to 222, we had like added in something that was really helping, that was like kind of outside the box, but was really like I was getting a lot out of that, and so that was fun to just see like those experimentations pay off.
I'd say in the last 4 or 5 years, a big change honestly has been the shoe technology. Has kind of enabled athletes to train, I think, harder, bounce back and recover from workouts easier. So that's been one huge thing, is the introduction of super shoes to our sport. Kind of changes how you're able to train, and the volumes that you're able to sustain are, I'd say, greater through that. And then strength training is huge. Usually when we go out and run, you're kind of assessing the body, being like, okay, how is everything moving? What do I need to correct in my left hip because my left hip is sinking in, or whatever you're feeling with your body. It's like, go fix it in the gym, and that is hugely important for longevity. If you're not doing stuff in the gym, you're gonna break down. It's just a matter of time.
So yeah, between running 226 in Ottawa, like I started implementing like really hard cross training in the afternoons after my workouts, and that was something that I guess double threshold training was maybe happening at the time. Like I didn't know about it really, but before I really knew about that, that was kind of what I was doing, more or less like a kind of like a double workout. And I found that like I could only go so hard in the morning, but with some rest, like I could go again in the afternoon without the pounding. And that's where systems like the lever, I think, are really awesome, in that you can add in more work with less pounding. And I think the pounding is really the limiter in running that you have to be careful of. That's really where injuries come in. And so if you can still get that cardiovascular system going, you can still get hard efforts and still train the muscles without as much of the jarringness of taking that whole load. That's what I found like really helped me like make that big jump in the marathon.
And then also implementing cross training as ways to do double workouts, because usually as runners what we're limited by is the muscular pounding and the muscular load that we cannot sustain. So if you can find ways around that, ways to lessen the impact through cross training, things like the lever, take the impact off the body, you can hit your cardio system again, because the cardio system can handle quite a bit more than your muscular load and strength can hold. So So the cross training has been super huge for Sara to continue to improve late into her 30s and now into her 40s.
Yeah, I would say recently it's been a little bit hard because I had that long, like my entire marathon career, I improved every year until about recently, and so that's always a little bit hard because improvement is fun for sure, and I think I've had to like really tune into just loving the process, like aside from the results. And you know, it's hard when you've placed second, third at world marathon majors, you've like set American records, like it's like you want to do that every time out, you know, and I hope that that can still be possible for me, but regardless, like I think going through a really long injury cycle in 2022 and 2023, like it just gave me an appreciation for just loving running and being able to do that. And there was a year in there where there were more days I couldn't run than I could run, like for the first time ever since doing this sport. And like, that was really tough, like to just miss what you love doing most. And so now it's really just tuning into the feeling a lot of like, yeah, maybe my tempo run is like a second or two slower a mile than my best one ever out here, but like the feeling is the same, you know, as long as you don't let that distract from like steal your joy in the moment. And so yeah, I would say I'm not sure if there's like a time where I didn't feel like I could keep going, but maybe during the injuries, like there were some times where I was like, maybe this is the end, you know, like maybe like I've had an amazing run. I've had like gotten to do this way longer than I thought ever possible.
Our training is anything but rigid. One of the best pieces of training advice I ever got was from Renato Canova. He said that the training should follow the athlete, not the athlete follow the training. And I think that is a huge key to success. If you're gonna be successful, no matter what you're training for, you have to modify the training to fit your daily unique needs, because you know, sometimes we wake up in the morning and we're just not feeling that good and it's not the day to get out there and hammer. So being able to make on-the-fly adjustments has really enabled Sara to keep going for a long time, and then also her willingness to cross-train. This is something that I see as a big difference actually between male and female athletes. When I was coming up in the sport, when I was coming up, if I was a guy and we got hurt, we just pretty much waited to get better. And then you come back and you're like 10 pounds heavier and you're feeling like trash, and usually you get hurt coming back because you haven't been doing anything. Whereas Sara and I think a lot of the female athletes are really good at being like, hey, I'm gonna cross train, try and keep some fitness. And I've even seen Sara build fitness via cross training, come back from 6 weeks off from an injury stronger than she was before the injury.
I'm really excited to keep going with my career and see what's possible. Like I feel really just curious. I feel like anything can happen, but nothing has to happen kind of feeling. Like I feel like at 42, I've been doing this over 20 years now, and I've had so many amazing moments. I've gotten to achieve so much more than I thought possible. And I think that's maybe kind of unique. Like I feel like a lot of pro runners, they feel a little bit like they never accomplished like quite what they wanted, or like you know, they got robbed because of like doping or different things. And like, I mean, that definitely has happened to me. Like, you know, Ruth Chepengeta testing positive recently, like you know, that was a tough blow for me just with some of the races I had against her. But at the same time, like I feel like I've achieved so much more than I thought I could. So now it just feels like really, I don't know, like it's for the joy of it at this point. And it's like, what's possible in your 40s? You know, I feel like there's a small group of us redefining what that can be. And like, and then, yeah, as outside of the roads too, like I'm excited to do trail stuff. I'm excited to do ultra stuff and dabble in that in the future. You know, Ryan is really like, his crazy trail runs have like given me a lot of FOMO. Like I want to be out there with him in the mountains and get to do more of that. But yeah, I think it's really just like following your excitement, you know, and following your curiosity and like, yeah, seeing where it goes. I think like in writing my book, For the Love of the Grind, like what I realized is like, there's so many doubts along the way in my career. So many times I doubted whether I had what it took to do this, and yet there was like this deep belief in myself all throughout it, that like even amidst all the failure, even amidst like, you know, a lot of things not going my way, there was still this belief that like it would all come together in the end. And so I really believe that in Orlando, even with all the setbacks I'd had going into that one. But yeah, I placed 5th that day. It was like 30 seconds from making the Olympic team, and it was both really heartbreaking, but also like I think just being able to be out there and to be fighting and have a chance, like after what I'd been through, like that, I had this like peace afterwards that like at least I'd been able to really be there and to really fight. And so yeah, I guess since then, I've had a lot more consistency in the sport, and it's been awesome. Just like days like today, just to like be out there and be like, man, like it's amazing my body can still do this. Like I'm training as much as I ever have, like doing as much volume as I ever have, like as much intensity as I ever have out here. And some days I have to be smarter. Like the other day, I was feeling my SI joint a little bit, so I cut my run short and I hopped on the lever in the gym and finished my run on there. And so you just try to be a little more careful at times. But in general, I've just been really excited to like just feel my body still be able to do this, and I just have so much more gratitude for being able to do this now. Legacy to me means the feeling that you're leaving with people, like how they felt watching you run, like how they, in interactions with you, the relationships. To me, that's the biggest part of the legacy, is like the relationships built along the way, the people you shared the journey with, the people that encouraged you, the people you got to encourage. Yeah, it's really, how watching you compete made people feel, and hopefully in a way that inspired them in their own journey to keep redefining what was possible, to keep an open mind of like what they can do, and yeah.